All right, welcome back. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about chatbots in Zapier. And I did say before that we're not going to work with tables at all, but I mean, there's not really a lot to show there. It's a table. If you worked with Excel or anything SQL, a table is just rows and columns. So for example, in this chatbot, we are going to build something that collects some user data, and we'll change the table up, but essentially what we're going to collect is a few fields of information. So we have a name field, an email, and a phone number, and a company. And that's funny. It looks like it totally grabbed this phone number completely wrong, which is interesting. And then it's going to grab our chatbot session ID. So a table is really straightforward. And what's going to happen is when someone talks in this chatbot channel in Slack, it's going to open up a thread, and our chatbot's going to message the user in this thread, and they're going to say, can you please send me some of your data? So your name, your email, your phone number, and your company. So I sent that over, and then the chatbot replies, thank you for providing the information, and so on. And then it goes on and saves that information into the table that we just looked at. So again, there's nothing crazy about tables. We're just storing data that we're collecting. So there's nothing major going on here. It is interesting that it messed up the phone number that badly, but it's fine. It might be an issue of passing on a number via Slack, or also a way I formatted it. Not sure. But now let's head over to chatbots and let's create our first chatbot. So once you head over to the chatbots tab, head over to the create button and let's click on create. So we have the option to name our chatbot. We're going to say, I don't know, we just say sales lead chatbot. What I want to do here is I'm going to make it in the sense of creating something based on Cloudflare Academy, so that when someone sends a message in Slack, I'm going to collect some information on this end user, for a potential sale. I'm going to see what courses they're interested in, and then I'm going to reach back out to them with maybe a link to that course or something along those lines. So let's first kind of get a tour of what we have available for us to build out this chatbot. So off the start, we have the instructions for the chatbot, and that would be the greeting and then the directive. So the greeting, that's just the first message that the chatbot will send to the user. And the directive is a few rules that they have to follow, or that this chatbot has to follow. So the style that is defaulted here is friendly and professional. And then in other rules, it says always check your knowledge source, even if you don't know, or even if you think you know the answer. So your answer must come from the information returned from that knowledge source. And I skipped over the objective here, but essentially it's just a customer support representative. So let's talk more about knowledge source. So if we click on the knowledge tab here, this is where we can actually add custom knowledge into this chatbot. So if we want this chatbot to be trained on all things related to stock trading, we could add a bunch of text files, all these PDFs that it can read off of with all these different terminologies and terms of charts and different patterns, stuff like that. Maybe you have some custom knowledge you want to feed into the bot, related to your company. So if you want to feed it data related to your company so that end users can get answers on your company, this is where you would do that. You would add your knowledge source here, and then the chatbot would reference it whenever it needs to answer a question relating to whatever you have here. And we'll talk more about that once we actually go through this. Next up, we have our logic tab. So in our logic tab, this is essentially just saying what happens when someone is talking to the chatbot. So we have a few options. We could have a zap button. So the chatbot would send a message to the user or reply to a message from the user. And then there would be a button below the message to allow the end user to run a zap. Something that may make more sense is if we have like a link button here to schedule a meeting, it would say that you can schedule a meeting here, and there would be a little calendar icon down here. Now we're not going to do that just because it doesn't work within Slack. So it's not able to embed these block links below its messages, or at least if it is, I haven't found a way to do that. What we're going to try is we're going to try the collect leads, and then also we're going to try running a zap automatically. So that way, whenever someone reaches out to a chatbot, there will be a zap that gets run. So we'll mess around with that, and we'll also mess around with the collect leads option. So next up, we have our theme tab here if you want to change the avatar of your bot. But I'm going to leave everything as default, or maybe I could set a custom logo. Okay, so I just added my logo to the chatbot, and now we can see the Cloudflare Academy logo attached to the name of the bot. Appearance, I'll leave it as default, that's fine. All right, everything else is fine. Next up, we have our integrations. Oops, actually, let me save the changes I just made. And then let's go check out integrations. So your integrations are, what is this chatbot linked to. So if you have a Facebook store page, you could add this onto the store page as a messenger bot. So if someone reaches out for more information, it would be talking to this chatbot. It could also draft emails via Gmail, or it could work with Zendesk for new tickets that come in. But what we're gonna do is use Slack. So let's go over and click Slack here. And we could trigger when a certain keyword is mentioned, or we could just trigger if there's anything posted in a specific channel. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say if a message is posted in a specific channel, we want to have this chatbot reply. So just like that, it automatically made a zap. So we have an entire workflow just by clicking that button. So basically when a new message is posted to a channel, we are going to have the bot reply. Now feel free to follow along if you want to do the exact same thing I'm doing as far as creating a chatbot and making it integrate with Slack. Or you can try something out using another integration if you don't want to use Slack. But let's head back over to the Zap, and I'll actually make a new channel for this. So let me create a channel, and we'll call it, let's leave it blank. Let's say lead, or let's say customer. Not really customer support. We'll just call it support, whatever. Leave it as public, and we'll skip that. Let's head back over here. Let's refresh our results and see if it pops up. And there it is. So I'm going to click on that for the channel. We don't want this to trigger for bot messages, or else we'll get a loop of the bot replying to itself. So we're going to click no for that. We're going to test to make sure we can connect. Now it shouldn't have any records. So that's interesting that I found one, unless it just might be referencing my join support message. Action events, text. We could use it. We could use something else, but so next up we have this formatter action here. We're going to leave that as blank. Just going to leave it as text. I'm going to continue. We're going to skip test on this one. We don't really have to worry about that. Let's continue. Generate reply to message. That's the only option. So let's continue. Now this would be our user message. So it's going to reference these instructions here. And then it's also going to have some background data here. Now I don't want to customize anything just yet. I just want to show you guys how we can get this up and running. So I'm going to click continue on all these workflows. Or I'm going to click continue on all these actions, and let's just continue on, not really customizing anything right now. We'll worry about that later. So now let's publish this Zap so that it works with the chatbot. And there we go. Let me head back to our chatbot. So now we have done two things so far. We haven't done a whole lot. We've done our integration. So it's working with Slack. And all we did here was link it to a specific channel. I really didn't do anything else. I just clicked continue on everything. And all I did was specify the channel it should reply to. I didn't even customize any of the messages that it would send. So we really haven't done much at all here. We have integrated it with Slack. So whenever someone sends a message in our support channel, this chatbot will read it and reply. Besides that, all we did was add a theme, which was just me adding my logo to the bot. Next up, we could select the AI model. If you don't want to use OpenAI GPT-4o, you could use 4.1 mini, but that seems to be the only two options we have right now. We could also head over to settings. We could have custom error messages if we want. We could change the name of the bot, but I'm going to leave that all as default. We also have the option to look at conversations and analytics, but there's going to be nothing there because we haven't done anything yet. So let's actually head over to our knowledge source. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to train this chatbot on CloudTrader Academy data. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to give it a PDF, and that PDF is going to contain data such as the courses that I've created and published to Udemy. Also, I'll most likely include a link to the courses. That way, whenever someone is talking to this chatbot, maybe the chatbot could reply with a link to the course that the user is interested in enrolling in. So I just made a new blank document in Google Docs. You could do a similar thing I'm doing if you want to train it on custom data. Of course, I'm just going to do CloudTrader Academy data. So I'll just feed it data like if someone mentions this, then display them something like this. So I'm going to fill this out. This is probably going to be pretty boring. Of course, you could fill it out with whatever data you want to see. But for me, I'm just going to reference it to different courses that I offer. So I'll see you after I finish filling this out. Okay, so I've talked to ChatGPT to develop some type of guide for this chatbot, and we have my course names, the URLs, some of the keywords that might trigger these to be replied, as well as the suggested prompts whenever it would recommend the course to the user. We also have some chatbot behavior. So essentially, we are trying to avoid suggesting all courses at once. At least we're trying to only recommend what makes sense in the context given and something that relates to whatever the end user is interested in. So we're going to try this out. I'm going to download this as PDF, and then I'm going to upload it as a knowledge document. All right, so I've downloaded the PDF. I'm now going to upload it here. So again, if you follow along, feel free to upload it along with me. I'm going to change the type from web page over to Google Doc. Now, of course, you could do web page and have it reference different sites. So that could be cool as well. And I think actually I will have it reference my CloudTrade Academy site. So I'm also going to crawl this link for all subpages. That way it grabs my course information as well. I'm going to click on continue. And these are the 2 pages I've allowed that are able to be crawled. All right, so we now have one of our knowledge sources uploaded. I'm also going to add a PDF. So let's add that. Well, let me correct myself. I couldn't add the PDF, but I just added the Google Doc and I just left it named as untitled document. So it's not the most obvious, but at least you guys know what this document is. It's the document I just showed you over here. So let's head back, and looks like that has now finished. So we now have our knowledge base and we have some instructions here. We can modify this a little bit, and rather than have me go and manually tweak this, let me just copy everything that's already here and go talk to ChatGPT and say, can you style this and reword it to fit more of what we just talked about? So let me go do that. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT to reword this, and it's giving me a few different general topics here. So our objective, our style and tone, and the knowledge source used. And we also have out of scope questions that are most likely being ignored based on this topic here. So let's try to copy this all over. And we might just need a text dump, just because I'm not sure if it'll allow all these emojis, but whatever, I'll try it out anyway. Bad news, it looks like Zapier just DDoSed me or something. Looks like I uploaded those instructions and I lost all internet connectivity. All right, well, I guess I'll come back once my internet's back. Okay, that was weird. I'm back. I have my connection back. Okay, so I guess the change I pushed over to our instructions didn't work. Or I guess I never saved. Okay, so I was able to update the directive. Let me make sure everything else is enabled here and accurate. I have my website and also have my Google Doc that it's referencing. So now that we have everything uploaded into the chatbot, we can now test it out to see what kind of answers it gives us. So I'll just say hello here and see where it goes from there. So right off the bat, it asks if I'm interested in learning about AI, training, or something else. Let's say if I go off topic, I'm interested in learning about dogs. Let's see what it says. So it says you're here to help with CloudTrade Academy courses. If you're interested in topics like AI, etc., let me know and I can recommend some courses. So right away, it's able to shut down topics that are out of scope, which was specified here back when I asked ChatGPT to do that for us. Now let me say I'm interested in AI courses. So let's see what it sends back to me. All right, so it referenced my generative AI course. So if I click this, let's see if it actually takes me to the right site, and it does. All right, so this looks pretty good. So description, everything looks pretty accurate. I never really specified it to do anything like that, I don't think, unless I did. Maybe ChatGPT included something, but I think we're at, actually, let me check my document. No, these are just suggested prompts. Okay, so maybe it pulled that from my website, actually. Okay, cool. Or it may have just summed this up from different data, such as my site, such as my Google document. So let's actually begin to integrate this now. Before we actually talk to this in Slack, let's set up another, I guess, logic move here. We're going to set up another logic action. So what we're going to do is have it collect leads as well. So before we even start the conversation, we want to collect their name, their email. I don't need their phone number, and I don't need their company. And we'll just say maybe interested subject or something. Subject interested in, and let's say, yeah, I think that's good. We get their name, their email, and the subject they're interested in. So let's go ahead and create that logic. So this is going to go and create a table for us. Let's close out of that. So now we have a new table in Zapier with a few different columns. We have the name column, the email column, and the subject interested in column. So that's perfect. Let's head back over here and let's try again. Let me just say hello. It should instantly ask for my information, but what if I try to ignore it? Let me just say I'm interested in AI, because now it should send me AI. Okay, Good job. Yeah, it didn't actually send me over any courses. I thought it would. What if I say show me the AI courses? Let's see if it still ignores that or if it sends me over the link. I guess I have no preference right now. So it will send it over if I keep prompting it and trying to convince it to actually send me this data. So it does eventually do that. I could say something along the lines of the instructions to say, let's go back, politely redirect, and we'll say something like, if a user doesn't provide their name, email, or subject interested in, then keep prompting them to send over that data before doing anything else. So let's save the changes there and let's see if this makes any difference. If not, we might have to do a bit of a bigger overhaul. Send me the AI courses you have, and I'm just gonna copy this and I'm just gonna keep pasting it because I'm imagining that the bot will try to keep pushing me into giving this data. Okay, so it looks like that really didn't do much at all. All I had to do was ask twice and then it instantly went back and said, okay, here's the course. So let's try to rework this a little bit. Okay, so I had ChatGPT update this. I'm gonna go down and copy all of this and we'll try one more time. If I'm still able to get around this, I'm not gonna worry about it. All right, I'm gonna say, can you show me the AI courses? And again, same test. I'm just gonna continue to send this. And once I send to the second time, usually it failed here. Okay, so it's making progress. It says it can help me. All right, so it looks like, there we go. Yeah, it looks like it's not going to send me this data until it gets the data it needs. So I'll say John Smith, that's my name. We'll say john@gmail.com. And we'll say AI courses for what I'm interested in. And let's see if it's now will help me out. Okay, great. So after I gave it that information, it sent me over the AI courses. So perfect. If we want to head over to our table, we can now see that we have a new record of this user who is interested in AI courses. Perfect. So now the last thing to do is, and of course we could expand on this if we wanted to, we could link it to more zaps. So we could have a zap automatically run if we wanted to, but for now we can just run it in Slack and ensure that it works in the chat here. So let me just say, hello, and being I am on a trial plan, I won't get the automatic responses here, but that was pretty quick. So let's view the thread. It says, hi, to get started, can you please share these details? And I'm gonna try again of ignoring that and see if it's any different now that we're in a Slack channel. Okay, so it looks like it is doing a good job of forcing me to send this data over. So I'm gonna say, my name is Alice Wonderland, and my email is wonderland@wonderland.com. And my topic of interest is, I don't know, we'll say day trading. So now that our chatbot has that information, and actually, you know, I just noticed something. Now that the chatbot is replying to us in Slack, it doesn't have the custom details, the custom profile picture. Okay, I did mention I was interested in day trading and it sent me over 3 trading related courses. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And if I head over back to my Zap, and I got here by going to integrations, and then I clicked on Slack, and then I clicked on the Zap here, and then it opened up our workflow here. So I clicked on edit my Zap, and now we can actually modify some of our bot data. So I could add a custom icon here, and I could also change the bot name. So I could say Cloud Trader Academy Support Bot. And just like that, we're now changing the name. I'm not going to worry about a bot icon for now, or adding an image by URL. That's good. I don't think there's anything else I really need to modify here. I'm just going to republish here, and I'm going to say version 2.0. And once this is republished, we should start to get messages. Let me just send a message in this existing channel and see if it's going to automatically update. Or I might have to make a new thread for the change to come in. And nope, it looks like it automatically updated. So we have the full new name. I never changed the profile picture, but of course I could if I wanted to. But based on what we wanted to do, we've done it. We set up a chatbot that will automatically reply to end users. We fed it a custom knowledge base, and we've also integrated some custom logic such as collecting leads. So now whenever someone, let me close out of this, whenever someone reaches out, we will now have their information collected before they continue to ask questions. So we have the courses that they're interested in, or the subjects rather, And we also have their email information and their full names. There's other data you could collect if you want, but for the case of this project, this is perfectly fine. Besides that, as mentioned, we did upload my website as a knowledge source and a custom document. And essentially that's how you can use chatbots. You could do the same exact thing for Facebook Messenger. So you just have to link to your Facebook page, and whenever users reach out, they'll get fed auto messages from this chatbot. So chatbots are very neat. They're a very handy tool, especially for really any company that deals with end users. Rerouting these end users to support bots or a sales lead bot, anything like that is very helpful. It saves a ton of time from your actual employees. That way, no one has to sit around just replying to messages from end users. If you think about Amazon or any other major company, or even any size company at all, almost all of them have some sort of chatbot. So if you're looking for Amazon support, you're initially going to talk to AI. If you request elevation, then it will go to a real person. Otherwise, it's just going to stick with AI. And sometimes AI can solve the entire issue on its own. It doesn't even need human intervention sometimes. Think of car dealerships, you can ask for information on different vehicles, and these chatbots are fed this knowledge of, via something like a knowledge source, and they're able to help out potential customers with all this vehicle data. And again, it saves your sales rep from having to spend all this time messaging potential customers back and forth. So again, it's mainly helpful to save time and of course save the time of your employees. All right, so just to recap what we were able to do, we were able to create a chatbot from scratch. We were able to feed it custom instructions with some help from ChatGPT. We also fed it some knowledge sources such as my website and this Google document that contains information on my courses and also some behavior guidelines. Besides that, we also implemented some logic. So whenever the chatbot is reached out to or whenever a message is sent, we are going to collect some of the data from the end user before we continue on with the conversation. We also looked into adding themes, which wasn't too difficult, and how we can integrate this with different applications. So again, Facebook Messenger, if someone's visiting your store page, it's a lot easier and a lot more efficient if you have chatbots replying to these users, because if you're a semi-popular Facebook page or store page, you're probably getting, at least dozens or hundreds of messages a day or a week. And this will save you a ton of time from having to reply to these if you just have a chatbot automatically reply for you. And not only saving time, but also could lead to more sales. Because if you don't reply to an end user in a timely manner, they might move on and forget they ever even wanted whatever you're selling. So using these chatbots is a huge help, and we can expand this if we want. We could add more logic, such as a Zap that automatically runs. So we could link this to something where, I don't know, maybe someone sends a message and then it links to a Zap and it runs on a keyword. So if they say something like schedule or meeting, we could have a Zap that would send them a link to our calendar to then book some type of meeting. And that's just an example. There's a lot of options you can do and a lot of different customizations you can set up with these chatbots. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's semi-long, but it is very useful to go back and rewatch the whole thing if there's anything you missed, just because chatbots are a major factor in generative AI. AI agents, chatbots, and these automated workflows are all super important in this day of artificial intelligence. So now that we've covered chatbots, we've covered Zaps, we are now going to cover AI agents. So I'll see you there.